This episode is brought to you by Voco Hotels by IHG, where you should prepare to be charmed. From Chicago to Myrtle Beach to Saranac Lake, each Voco in the U.S. has its own local flavor and unique detail. Our hosts welcome you with little extras, and you'll find rooms for catching up on me time and full-service bars and restaurants that are perfect for us time. Come on in and live the Voco life and book your next stay at vocohotels.com. VOCO hotels.com.
Welcome to episode 97 of the High Volume Hiring Podcast. I am Stephen Rothberg. I am one of your two co-hosts. I'm also the founder of College Recruiter job search site, where we believe that every student and recent grad deserves a great career and that it should be easy and inexpensive for employers to hire them. I am joined here today, as almost always, by my awesome co-host and Chief Operating Officer of College Recruiter, Jeanette Leeds. Jeanette.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Great to see you again. Jeanette Leeds, as Stephen said, CEO of College Recruiter. I'm also HR Tech Advisor, AI coach, and I'm really super pumped today because we have Jeremy Schiveling here today, and he is the founder of Job Insiders, if you don't know, and they work with over 300 universities and organizations to train staff and students on advanced LinkedIn and AI techniques. So, Jeremy, welcome. So happy to have you here on episode 97. And obviously, as everyone's on the cover up, we're using AI, today's topic, using AI to drive better results for early careers recruiting programs. So, welcome.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. And thank you also, Stephen. So excited to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome. So obviously I gave you a little bit intro, but tell us a little bit more about yourself, like, what you're doing with the Job Insider, sort of background for our listeners, and then we'll get into like all the fun LinkedIn and AI.
In other words, who the heck is Jeremy?
That's right. Where did this guy come from?
Those that don't know.
Well, in addition to finding me on the street corner a couple minutes ago, the reality is that, I've had a very lucky career. And my heart goes out to all those early career folks out there just getting their start because their times are tough.
Yeah.
But my career has been charmed in two ways. Number one, I got to work inside LinkedIn a while back. So I got to build out the alumni tool that many of you use to find great connections inside companies. And then most recently, I was working for Khan Academy, the big nonprofit that helps people master algebra and calculus and all that good stuff. And we were actually one of the launch partners for ChatGPT when it first came out a couple years ago.
Oh,
And so I got to be there at the dawn for both of those revolutions. And so I've really built a business in the last couple of years, helping colleges and students make the most of those two tool sets to really help their students succeed. So that's my big focus.
that is awesome. I did not realize that Khan, and for viewers or listeners that don't know, KHAN. I don't think it has anything to do with the like famous Star Trek Star Trek episode and movie. But
Right. Although I will say Sal Khan, the founder, is a
yeah,
huge sci-fi nerd. So
Oh.
may
sweet.
have been some inspiration.
I mean, apparently we booked the wrong person for this episode, but so Jeremy, we wanted to focus on AI, and you're talking to career services and other people at the universities, the students, the grads. Let me take for that first group first. Career services. You're meeting with a room of 100 of them, virtually, in person, whatever. What do you start off by telling them?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing for them is that AI is an opportunity. Like as someone who worked at the Career Center at University of Michigan's business school, I know that a lot of times career services is kind of like the Rodney Dangerfield of academia. No respect, no resources. And then when I see what's happening in academia today, where so many faculty members are basically looking at AI with complete revulsion. They say, "Oh, this has ruined all my assignments. I have to change everything in how I run my courses." This is a chance for career centers to lead, to say these are incredible tools if used the right way to help you find the right job, win the right job, build a great career. And so I really encourage career center leaders to truly lead on this issue because this is a rare chance to be at that vanguard.
I love that because it was interesting. I was at the NACE conference, I don't know what month, what was that, last month? National Association of Colleges and Employers. And I was attending most of the sessions that were for employers because that's who College Recruiter typically works with. But I popped into a few career services sessions and there was like, I don't want to say an AI vibe, but there was which clearly I think is coming from professors, and again, change can be scary. So like,
Yeah.
again, I agree 100%. Like, you got to lead with it. Like, this is not going away. What sort of like trends or things that like, what do you do once you sort of give that first step with them? Is like, okay, like, how do you bring them along? I guess is what I'm saying. And then then I want to like dive a little bit more into the organizations, right, that are working with career services that may or may not be a little
Yeah, yeah.
resistant.
So let's move both to the downside and the upside. I think the reason that so many folks are freaking out about it is the same reason that we're all freaking out about it. Is AI going to be taking our jobs in the near future?
Right.
And I think the first time you go to ChatGPT and say, help me figure out 5 roles to pursue after I graduate, and it spits out some pretty good answers, you're like, whoa, oh no, AI is going to be your career coach. I think that really undersells what a great career coach does.
Yes.
The relationship, it's the warmth, it's the support that no AI will ever provide probably in our lifetimes. And so the reality is a great coach will always be needed. But the upside is a great coach could be spending more time on the actual coaching and less time on the busy work if they use AI the right way. So, for example, when I was a career coach at Michigan, I spent a lot of time with my red pen, fixing grammatical errors in resumes and typos in cover letters. That was not necessarily the best use of my time, but we had to get it done. Whereas if you could build your own AI career bot, so your own Michigan bot or your own Cal bot or whatever your school is, could you outsource some of that drudgery and then have more time to have real, genuine conversations with your students about their goals, their dreams, and how to get there? I think that's the dream if you're a
I
career coach.
love that.
And Jeanette, you had a follow-up
Oh,
question.
yeah, well, I was almost gonna like, okay, now, like, let's flip it to the other side of the coin, and I love it, like, years ago, I was actually a career coach at Columbia Business School, so it's like, we actually and also a campus recruiter, so it's sorta interesting, the combination, I can see all the sides. Okay, so but now I'm an employer, right? And so AI techniques there, right? Like, there's so much lever. Let's flip on the coin there, advice there for,
Yeah. So I think the first thing is I actually understand why recruiters hate AI even more than career
I love
coaches
it. Spill the tea.
because yeah, everything I'm hearing, I'm sure you guys are hearing this as well, is AI has taken a job that was already really hard and made it massively more difficult. Whereas 4 years ago, we were getting 300 applications for internship. Now we're getting 3,000 in the first 24 hours. 80% of them are AI generated. How do we know who's even a good candidate anymore? And so I think the reality is recruiters can certainly fight back with AI. And I was actually just quoted in a New York Times article where the reporter basically said this is an AI arms race. The students are using
Yeah.
AI, the recruiters are using AI, probably going to be a zero sum outcome. Or, and I think this is the real path forward, go back to what really matters. Is it really about keywords? Is it really about match rate? Is it really about all this stuff? Or is it trying to find someone who's going to fit really well into this team and just become an amazing complement, an amazing catalyst to help our organization be more successful in the future? And so I think that looks like way more of having people share their own experiences in their own words versus sort of pre-formatted systems, whether it's resumes, cover letters, whatever, where everything is exactly prone to AI sort of manipulation and leads to more of this arms race. So my call on both sides of the equation is let's get back to sort of human authenticity and less about the algorithm.
Oh, I love it.
Whether you're a payroll pro or an employee wanting to understand your paycheck better, we've got you covered. Tune into It's About Payroll for expert insights on payroll trends and compliance, or check out It's About Your Paycheck, the go-to podcast for employees looking to understand their pay and rights. 2 great shows, 2 great hosts. Listen now, brought to you by Work Defined, where payroll meets clarity.
It's a very glass half full approach, but not Pollyanna. It's not like I'm wishing for something that can't possibly exist. I love it. So one of the things that I've been thinking about, and I think Jeremy, you've forgotten more about how AI can be and should be used in the job process, search process than I will ever know. So I'd love to hear you say, absolutely, Stephen, I totally agree. But quite frankly, I suspect you're going to be like, well, no, that's not really the way it is. So one of the things I've been thinking is, I wonder if an employer that 5 years ago got 100 applications for, say, an internship, and today, and say 20 of them seem to be qualified, maybe well qualified, but reasonably well qualified. So like 20%. Today, maybe they're getting 200 applications for that same kind of role, but maybe 180 of them seem to be qualified, so call it 90%. I have this feeling that 90% of the candidates were always qualified, but did such a bad job of writing their resumes that you couldn't know it as the employer. So it's not really a difference in the candidates. It's a difference in how the candidates are communicating. Okay, so am I totally right and we're good and we're done, right? Or just pick my theory apart?
Well, I actually love that, Stephen, because I think that's exactly what's happening.
Okay, we're good.
That's right. This podcast is over. But I want to push you a little bit on this idea of qualifications because
Okay.
I'm speaking here both as someone who used to be a recruiter at Teach for America early in his career, and then certainly has been a hiring manager at LinkedIn and Khan Academy and for my own company. As a hiring manager, my bar for qualification is not just do you meet the keywords in the job description?
Yeah.
It's like, are you going to be a rock star for my team?
Yes.
Are you going to make me look better to my boss? That's where my bar is. And so I just hired recently, and you're right, 80% of all the applications look good on the surface. But then I started to notice when I had them write out sort of answers to these questions I challenged them with, the answers were good, but they were all the same.
Okay.
You could see AI right there hiding in plain sight. Oh, they used AI. They use AI. They use AI. And what does that tell me about these people? If they couldn't be bothered to spend any time on the application now, how are they going to be hustling for me a year from now when times get really tough? And so I ended up hiring the person who actually wrote their own response. It wasn't completely grammatically perfect, but there was heart, there was passion, there was human authenticity behind it. And now, 6 months into the job, she is crushing it for me because that same drive that I saw in her application is still present today.
And what's her name and cell phone number?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The one qualified candidate left
And
in
is
the
she
world.
really upset with anything that you're doing that we could use to hire her away from you? I'm just kidding. Jeanette, sorry.
No, so I mean, it's sort of like an interesting angle there, where it's like, who's going no AI? It's almost like you hear these stories. People are like flying, in airplanes, and they're like, they're not using music; they're just sitting, right? They're just like you're being, like, forget about any sort of. But it's like interesting because the ability to use AI is like an important skill set to have, right? In terms of productivity and efficiency and whatnot. And so I don't know. It's like an interesting. I get what you're like. Again, it's like that drive to just do, like, that is a really key indicator and skill. So how do you assess? So I like how you're assessing on it.
Let me speak to that real quick, Jeanette, because I do think I want to call this out. This is the elephant in the room.
Okay.
If you are a recruiter and you're listening to this, you're like, I can't just banish all the AI applicants,
Right.
because the hiring managers are breathing down my neck saying I need people with AI skills. And so I think the trick is finding the people who are using AI the right way, the sophisticated way, which is for research, analysis, creativity,
Love it.
but still able to tell their own human story in an authentic way. That's the sweet spot. That's the chocolate and peanut butter.
I love it. Reese's peanut. I love that. I think that's a really good point. Okay, so let's talk more on the employer side. What else? Like, what can an employer, a recruiter, high volume, right? They're hiring a ton of early careers. Like, how can they use AI? Like, any quick, like, last advice, as we're wrapping up to drive results, like, for themselves or organization, like, let's give some advice there.
Absolutely. So my number one thing is that I think this is going to become more and more apparent as times change, but employer branding is going to be really critical, right? You've got to say, hey, we've got a role to play in this emerging world. And so if you are still sort of putting out standard job descriptions and standard hiring websites and all that, like, hey, ChatGPT's been out there for 3 years. Use it not just to do the writing for you, but for the creativity, to get some ideas, to push you a little bit. Like, ask ChatGPT, look at my hiring website and rip it apart through the cruel lens of a Gen Zer.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised what you discover. And then number two, and I think this is so critical, is can you actually use AI to help you with some of these things? So turn AI loose in some of your applicant data and say, don't look for people who just match the keywords in the job description in a binary format. Help me find the people who really have some traces of authenticity. Because I know the recruiters out there are saying,
Oh,
Jeremy,
wow.
you're talking about one hire. I've got 100 hires.
Right.
And I'm like, well, maybe there's an AI or an algorithm to help with the authenticity search, not just the search for pure match.
It's interesting because it's like you're asking AI to, well, exactly like for for authenticity. What I've heard employers that want to use AI is they tend to use it for matching, right? It's
Yeah.
like, does the resume match with the job description? And this is a bit of a different, that's table stakes. This is kind of that next level. So, Jeremy, this has been awesome. Thank you
Yes.
so much for your expertise, your passion around this. I'm sure that a bunch of listeners are going to be like reaching out to you to ask you for your calendar and whatnot, and they have to get in line because we were here first. But thank you. This has been great, Jeanette. Especially with your AI expertise, this must have just charged your batteries.
I mean, the combination of like early careers in AI, it's like it's awesome. But I love that you just brought up like again some different angles that I'm not hearing people talk about enough. So it's just fantastic. So I think, lots of takeaways and I really appreciate your time. Until next time, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Cheers.